Hello and welcome to another edition of Husker Chat Live here on the Husker Online YouTube channel. Sean Callahan with Husker Online. Once again, Husker Chat Live brought to you by Sandhills Global, and we're powered by ABM. If you have equipment to sell it at auctiontime.com. And we use this chance to catch up with all the newcomers that come into Nebraska, and we're pleased to have one of the newest arrivals on campus, wide receiver Marcus Washington, St. Louis native, Trinity Catholic High School, played down at the University of Texas. He'll rejoin now quarterback Casey Thompson here at Nebraska, as they played in Austin the previous few seasons. Marcus, welcome to Nebraska. It's great to have you here on Husker Chat Live.
Glad for you guys having me.
Well, let's talk about the story. I mean, you had a pretty good season at Texas last year. Had over 100 yards against Kansas, had a couple good games against Baylor and Oklahoma State. What drove you to look for something different? Kind of tell your story of what kind of put you in the portal and how'd you end up at Nebraska?
So nothing really like major, just honestly talking to myself, talking to God, like having my vision and like talking like what my vision was for myself. And it just led me to, I feel like it was best to just go separate ways. I got much love for them at Texas, like definitely the new staff, most genuine people I've met. So I just feel as for my plan, it was time to go our separate ways.
When there's a coaching change made somewhere, how much does that change things for a guy? Because obviously you were brought in under a different staff and you played 1 year with the new staff. I mean, does that change a lot of things, when you kind of look at the big picture of a decision like that?
So yeah, it actually does. I didn't really realize it like at Texas, like, because I was in the mix, and I was just trying to grind and, just get on the field. So do whatever like it is to get on the field. So it was, I didn't really realize it until like after I had departed, like, because like my time at Texas, I had 3 different offensive coordinators, 3 different position coaches. And so like that was pretty much it. Like that's pretty much.
Yeah, when you look at just your time at Texas, so I mean, where do you think what were some of your highlights when you kind of look back at your time you played there? What really jumped out about your career at Texas when when you look at some of the high points?
The biggest thing from Texas I learned was like they taught me how to conduct myself and like just the things outside of football, really, So like coming out of high school, I didn't really know too much. Like all I knew was football, like get on the field, run routes, go do it. Like I didn't really know about studying the playbooks, like getting into the mental side of things. So that's probably one of the biggest highlights that I got from Texas. And then like it's a whole lot of highlight. Like I enjoyed both Alamo Bowl wins when I was there. And just being around, like those are still my guys there. So yeah, that's pretty much my highlights there.
When you played with Casey Thompson there, so nobody on this current Husker team knows Casey better than you as far as a quarterback. What will Casey bring to Nebraska after having the chance to play with him for a few seasons?
So Casey is like the hardest mentally prepared. Like he takes that like to the next level. He in my time at Texas, he kind of took me under my wing, like taught me a couple things like how he studies. So like game time come, like in season, he gonna study so hard. He gonna know the playbook like the back of his hand. He gonna know what coverages to expect, what looks to get. So like very hard worker, smart, very intelligent. So that's what he'll bring to the table.
And you're living with Casey right now, at least temporarily?
Yes, sir.
How's that? I mean, just having that bond. I mean, do you guys get out and throw the ball a little bit on the side? I mean, how's it been being with Casey here in Lincoln?
Yeah, it's been good. We got extra workouts on the side, of course. Just kind of picking back off where we left at Texas. Same brotherhood. Same.
What do you? Yeah, when you look at kind of what you're walking into, it's a very deep room. You're the 3rd college transfer at receiver brought in. There's some really good newcomers like Janiron and DeColdis from the high school ranks that have come here too. How competitive is that room when you look at all the different people brought in? Then you got guys like Omar Manning and Oliver Martin and veteran players that are returning here too.
Very competitive, but to me, to get the best rooms, receiver country groups, they're all stacked. and that's what brings out the competition, what brings out the best in every player. So we all here to work, trying to just win games. That's the biggest goal. No individualized stats or situations. Like the main goal is to win games. So however any of us could do that, that's what we're gonna do.
How are they going to use you? I mean, are you a guy that can play outside at the X, or are you a Z, or are you a slot? I mean, give us an idea of how they're going to use you in this offense.
Probably like on the outside receivers, Z and X, but I honestly I couldn't give you like an exact way they'll use me. I'm just looking to come in and how I can help. I can go like anywhere they need me to help the team.
Now, back in high school, Marcus, you considered Nebraska. You came on an official visit, and then you visited, I believe, Texas maybe the next week, if I'm not mistaken, or shortly after, and committed to Texas. But when you go back to that, I mean, it was a different coaching staff at Nebraska that started recruiting you. I believe Keith Williams was there and Mike Riley. I mean, how serious were you considering Nebraska back then, and kind of what knocked them out of the discussion at that point?
They was definitely, so I took it, they was in my top 3. So I was considering them very well. Like I was considering coming here. I wouldn't say it was something like that knocked Nebraska out of the rankings. Honestly, it was just me being like a high school kid. Like I took it serious, like in recruiting, but like I didn't look at all the ins and outs and ask the specifics and just the knowledge I have now. So it was kind of like I wouldn't say a childish decision, but I just didn't know as much as I know now.
And you're the first St. Louis guy to come in on scholarship in a while. I believe Trey Bryant. You know, and they've had previous ones. Do you know Chris Brooks by chance?
Yeah, I know Chris Brooks.
And his son's going to Wisconsin. I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, have you talked to Chris Brooks? Do you know, like, guys from St. Louis? Kenny Wilhite, I know you've dealt with as a former player that works at Nebraska from St. Louis. I mean, what kind of relationships do you have with some of those guys?
So I knew with actually both of them, Kenny and Chris. My relationship with them like didn't really stem from like a Nebraska, you feel me, relationship. It was just like, you know, being from St. Louis. So I know him like before Nebraska. So our relationships have been good. I know Chris, I know his son. We used to train together a little bit, a couple of times when I was in high school. He was just a freshman then. Both really good people. I mess with them both. I haven't heard from Chris Brooks recently, but like we good. We talk.
Yeah, it's St. Louis, though, it's one of those places. There's so much football talent there. Nebraska's tried to get in there the last few years. A lot of people have tried. I mean, Ohio State's had a lot of success there. Texas, I mean, you name it, they're all going into St. Louis. I mean, what can you say about the talent in St. Louis and you know how much better it's gotten over the years?
When you recruit St. Louis, you're gonna get a dog, for sure. It's just the mentality that we kind of bring. Gonna bring a hard worker. The recent success in the St. Louis came from like the 2017, 2018 class, and just kind of building on that. And it's getting bigger and bigger, better and better. So hopefully it just keep on going and we can become one of the cities, like one of the top cities to produce.
Now, is Trinity did I read right? They're not open anymore, right?
Nah.
That's a tough deal. I mean, your alma mater, they were kind of a victim of COVID. What happened at Trinity Catholic?
It's a lot that happened at Trinity Catholic that went into it closing. I don't really know the specifics. I got like a guess of what kind of happened and stuff, but I don't really know too much.
Can you help Nebraska though in St. Louis now, like going forward? I mean, are you and kind of the people good point people? I mean, are you going to play a factor going forward, maybe to kind of be a bridge with Nebraska and some of the kids in St. Louis?
Yeah, most definitely. If it's the right fit for the kid, of course I'll do that. I'm big on like helping everybody from the city because I was one of them, you know. So of course I'm big on that. If the right situation fits the kid and I feel like it's a great situation, of course.
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Nebraska transfer wide receiver Marcus Washington. You're watching Husker Chat live on the Husker Online YouTube channel. We're brought to you by Sandhills Global, powered by ABM, and getting lots of questions in the stream. Have over 100 people now on the live view watching us live as we talk to Marcus Washington, and break down his recruiting process. I got to ask you about Mickey Joseph. What, and you smiled right away. What kind of impact did Mickey Joseph have in this for you to pick Nebraska?
Just of course, like his resume speaks for itself. So really don't got to explain too much on that. Got Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, guys I actually seen the person like at Texas, so I know they was real, and what they're doing in the league. He got Ray McMath, got a good resume, and so just his style of coaching. He showed me a couple clips, his training, and the genuine, like he's very genuine up front, gonna let me know like what it is and what it's not, and that's really what got me with Coach Joseph.
How does his style like translate to the players? I mean, it just seems like as a player, that's the kind of guy players want to play for.
Yeah, because he preaches hard work, and he preaches like one thing he say, like he want this team to like he want us to be the leaders of the team, help us run the offense. The team runs off of us, so he kind of building that mentality into everyone in the receiver room, and it's just helping build a better culture as a team.
How now at Texas, you went through spring ball, right?
Yes, sir.
So you had a full win. I mean, it's not like you were able to get pretty good training. So when you got to Nebraska, did you feel, pretty much right on schedule with your body because you had a full true winter conditioning in spring ball?
Yes, sir.
What how's the adjustment been to Nebraska? Just kind of training with new strength coaches and maybe a different program than what you had been doing at Texas.
So yeah, like I said, all college workouts pretty much the same. I ain't gonna say it's the same, but it's work wherever you go. You just got to get your head focused in it. So we probably lift a little bit more than we did at Texas, but like to me, workouts are workouts. They're the same. That's pretty much. Yeah.
All right, let's get to some of these questions, Marcus. We got a lot of questions building up in the queue. This one from Cornhusker Cole just wants to know more about Casey Thompson. I mean, how impactful was he on your decision? I mean, if Casey wasn't at Nebraska, would Nebraska have been on the radar, or was he really one of the driving factors for you?
I mean, yeah, of course he was a driving factor, but it wasn't just like a Casey type of thing. It was what's the best fit for me. So like if Casey wasn't here and they had a different type of quarterback and I feel like the situation was good, I possibly could still consider Nebraska and came to Nebraska. Casey definitely did help out, but my decision was based on like what I felt was the best look for me.
Now, who else did you really consider? I believe Purdue, I read, was a team that you might have visited. Kind of break down the transfer recruiting process because, when it's going on, I think it's a lot different than high school. You don't typically see guys, and I know you weren't really talking much over that process. I mean, what was the recruiting process like for you once you got in the portal?
It was a lot of schools hit me up. Well, I would say a decent amount of schools hit me up for sure. It was kind of like high school again, except this time I was just more mature, and I was just trying to weave out the BS and stuff like that. And to me, it was kind of just like the same as high school, coaches hitting you up and listening to them. But this time I got straight to business. Like I was telling every coach I talked to, like, no photo shoots, none of that. Like, I'm just trying to get here, talk ball, see where I can fit and help make the team win. And that's it.
You probably haven't had your phone ring like that in a long time, is my guess.
Yeah, that was that was bad, but it was a part of it.
Now, did you just shut it down? I mean, you weren't trying to talk to reporters. I mean, you were just kind of keeping it to you and your family and kind of making the best decision at that point.
Yes, sir.
You back to Casey, kind of another follow-up question here from Pup Dog 24 wants to know, what was that conversation like? I mean, once you went in the portal, did you give Casey a heads up before right away? And then kind of how did the ball get rolling with Nebraska? Like what was it? Mickey Joseph, Kenny Wilhite, somebody from the development or the support? I mean, how did it kind of get going with Nebraska and you?
So me and Casey probably talked like a day or two before I entered the portal, and I was just letting him know. And we talked about it, and like he told me like, yeah, it's a spot for you, or like you can come in and help the team and all. But I wouldn't say I wasn't messing with. I was just trying to like look like, see if what he was saying could be true, like if it was a possibility, like things like that. And then I think my first conversation with Coach Joseph was like probably 2 days after I hit the portal, and then that's when things just started kicking off, and we set up a visit, and I got down here. But me and Casey had a good conversation just about like what we thought was the best look. Like he wasn't even saying like Nebraska's all in or come here or nowhere else. We just had a real conversation. It's like brothers, friends, like what could be the best look for me.
You've been in Lincoln just for a few days, maybe a week, maybe. What's been your just favorite part of kind of living here so far and just kind of getting used to life in a different city?
The thing I like about Lincoln is it's relaxed and it's like I wouldn't say it's not much to do, but like it's not as much as like a party scene. It's definitely stuff to do in Lincoln, and you can kind of like relax more. It ain't as many as distractions, I guess I'm saying.
Yeah, Austin is obviously a big city. I mean, when you're an athlete there, and I'm not saying you, but like in general, can guys get in some trouble in a place like Austin just because there's so much going on there with other things too?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you can get in trouble anywhere. That's all on the person. But yeah, Austin, it's a good city. I wouldn't say it's just easier to get in trouble. It's probably easier to have fun. But yeah.
Moving on to some more questions. Another one about Casey for you. What does Casey bring to the table? Just how will he make the receivers better from what you've seen in just him as a quarterback?
Casey is real big on chemistry and, like I said, preparing hard earlier, like preparing mentally as hard as physically. So he's just, to me, I know with me at my time in Texas, he helped me with the mental side of the game a lot. I'm pretty sure the other receivers and all of us will probably pick up on that from him too. And then, like I said, he's gonna give us his all every time. Like I don't doubt that about Casey at all.
We're talking to wide receiver transfer Marcus Washington on Husker Chat Live. About 130 people watching us live now as we go through your questions. If you got questions, get them in the chat. We're streamed live both on YouTube and on Facebook right now. So anyone watching live can get their questions in, and we'll try to work it in. Antonio Myers has one for you here. Did NIL play a factor at all when you kind of looked at things with schools?
No, not really. Like I said, at this point in my career, I'm only planning I plan on only doing one. If I have to do it the second year, yeah, come back. But like NIL wasn't really a big impact because I'm focused on the bigger picture right now. Like I said, I'm trying to get straight to business. NIL is good for everybody in college football right now, but it could only be temporary, So like my biggest focus was whatever school could help me get to achieve my dreams and my goals of going to the league.
So right now, this would be your 5th year of college, right? 2022?
No, fourth.
Because your freshman year was
2019.
Okay. So you technically, do you have 2 years or 3 years that you could technically play college football for?
2.
Okay. So, and you're ideally, if you do take care of your business, you just don't know where it could be, but you're acting like, or play, presuming it could be 1, it might be 2. I mean, how do you kind of look at that decision?
It's in God's hands, God's plan. Of course, like I said, of course, I would want to, like, you feel me? The goal is to go to the league after this year. But like I said, if it doesn't happen, I'm just gonna come back, work hard again, give it another shot.
All right, let's move on to another question. We got one from Craig. Have you met many of your new teammates and wide receivers that you're going to share the field with, and just kind of give some stories on that?
Yeah, I met Alante, Omar, Trey, all of the guys really. So I forgot what was the second part of the question.
Just some of the stories that you've been, maybe your relationships you've been able to build early on with some of those guys.
I mean, I don't really got any stories. I just got here not too long ago, but like just from talking and being around them, like I could tell they focus is different. Like we all had the same mission, same goal, and so I could just tell like it should be a good year for us.
Yeah, there's 15 transfers here now, Marcus, and 3 JUCO players too. So there's 18 older guys that have come in this program along with 15 high school players. So 33 newcomers have joined the 85 scholarship players here in Nebraska total. As one of those 15 transfers, how do you guys blend in? I mean, how do you make this work? Because there's really never been anything done like this before at Nebraska.
I feel like we all just coming in, like I said, trying to see what we can do to help win. Like, because at the end of the game, that winning games is the cure for everything. NFL want to look at winners, people on the winning team. So like our main goal is just to get wins. Nobody's really looking at like any individual goals or stats. The main goal is to win games. And I feel like that's what we're all trying to bring in.
Juan has a question, and this is a hard one. I don't know if you want to answer this or not, but what are your goals for receiving yards and touchdowns?
I keep my goals to myself, you know.
Good
like
answer.
My goal is just to help the team win more games. Get to a
That's
bowl.
one of those ones, no matter what you say, you're either going to get in trouble for saying too much or not enough. So I think you had a good answer. But I wanted to ask you because Juan brought the question to the chat. Moving on, Sean has a question here. Welcome to Nebraska. What do you think of the talent here versus Texas? And I think on the outside, people just assume Texas is loaded with talent, but they haven't had a lot of draft picks recently. And Nebraska had quite a few this last year. I mean, how would you kind of compare the overall roster when you kind of look at things compared to maybe what you played with at Texas?
I feel like the talent is about the same as Texas. I feel like here in Nebraska, the guys here in this locker room can compete with anybody in the country, you know? So like, I feel like talent level wise, we up there with the top of the top, you know? And that's pretty much it. Like you said, what you said, the Texas players didn't have anybody drafted or something?
Yeah, just like, I mean, because I think on the outside, you're like, oh, Texas is loaded with talent. But when you look at the draft data, it doesn't necessarily reflect that. But Nebraska obviously has, this last year they had a lot of guys drafted, but they struggle as well. But I guess when you just look at the talent, top to bottom on both rosters.
Yeah, Texas, they got some guys over there at Texas too. It was unfortunate for the draft situation, but
coaching changes kind of mess up a lot of stuff though, don't they? I mean, when you start to like develop and move, I mean, it's not easy to go through a coaching change in the middle of your college career.
Yeah, for sure that.
Juan's got a follow-up, and I don't know if you got this answer or not, but what's your 40-yard dash? Best time you run the 40 in?
I actually haven't tested in the 40.
Have you run track?
Nah.
So you've never run a 40?
I've never ran a 40. Well, I ran one in high school. What was that, like my junior year, I believe? But I haven't ran a 40 since then.
Well, maybe we got to get you to run a 40. What's your vert? You got a vertical?
I think I got one. I believe it was like a 37 or 8 before I had got out of Texas.
All right. So Texas didn't when you worked out, did they like not track that stuff? Did they do testing there, or like verticals and 40s, and not obviously not 40s, but just did they do some of those things to kind of measure guys there?
Yeah, they do. They do a lot of stuff. They do testing, jumps. They do it all. So they just don't do the 40.
Jim's got one for you, and we kind of hit on this, but Jim wants to know, what kind of receiver are you? Are you a speed guy? Are you a possession guy? Are you a jump ball guy? Describe your wide receiver skill set. Is there somebody maybe in the NFL that you kind of model your game after?
My style of play. So first of all, like off rep, my biggest thing is I'm a dog. Like I'm gonna give you my all, every play, every rep, every practice. That's probably my biggest trait. Other than that, I'm a playmaker. That's what I view myself as. What I've been my whole career, my whole life. So that's the type of receiver I view myself as. I'm a playmaker.
All right, let's move on. Lamar, what do you do to perfect your craft? Any external route, speed coaches? I mean, do you do so besides like what you do with the program at Nebraska or Texas? Do you get additional instruction on the outside, whether it's like with a receivers coach or a speed coach or anyone like that?
Yeah, so like right now it's probably not as much as training with other coaches or other trainers. Right now, I get on the field, throw with the quarterback, like work on timing and stuff, work with routes, running routes on air. Like off season, like true off season, I definitely I shoot out to Phoenix sometimes, get work with my brother as a trainer, work with a couple other trainers back at home. So with me right now, as far as what am I doing to perfect my craft, I'm just trying to run routes, get a line, get the timing and all that stuff down with the quarterback. So we just running routes on air, talking about plays, looking at film, going over the playbook, stuff like that.
Alex wants to know, I mean, can you talk about the defensive back talent here? Have you been able to go against them much in one-on-ones, or are you guys not to that point yet?
Yeah, we're not to that point. I can't really say. But from on film, like I said, I feel like the talent is comparable to the best of the best.
Jason wants to know, what is going to be the biggest impact that you bring to the team here at Nebraska?
I say like just bring a little bit more dog out of everybody. Like you need dogs to win, and we got them here. And I feel like they even had them in the past. It's just now everybody got to bring it out of everybody, and I feel like I can help do that.
All right, we got a few more questions that we can work in here if you got time. If you got one, you can slide it in. We might be able to get it in here at the very end as we wrap things up with Marcus Washington, St. Louis native that transferred here from Texas, just got to campus. He'll be eligible immediately for this upcoming football season. Marcus, did you know that Nebraska opens the 2022 season in Dublin, Ireland?
I actually didn't know that until I came on my visit. Casey was told you got to get your passport. I'm like, well, I got to get my passport for it. He's like, we playing Ireland. I said, whoa. Hey, football, 100 yards between the lines, goalposts at the end. We play anywhere. We play on Mars if
take the show on the road, baby, right?
Yeah.
So have you been overseas? Have you ever left the country before?
I never left the country. I've been saying like my whole life I would never leave the country, but
business is business.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to on that trip? Obviously the game itself is big, but I mean, are you excited to take on a new experience like that as well?
I wouldn't even say I'm excited. I guess I don't know. I'm really focused on the football. It's not like we're gonna go out there for a vacation or anything, like besides seeing like what's around the hotel or around the field. So like I haven't really even thought about that. I just know we're playing football in Ireland.
What like right now, what are you guys doing? I mean, is it 4 or 5 days a week of workouts, running, throwing? I mean, give us an idea of what it looks like right now.
Yeah, so right now we're just in the summer workout phase, lifting, running, get some routes in and stuff like that, a couple indie periods and stuff like that. No really like competition going against the defense or anything like that. So right now we're just, I guess, perfecting ourselves, working on ourselves.
In our June classes, I believe, started yesterday. Are you taking a class in June right now too?
Yes, sir.
All right. What are you taking? What's the class?
Statistics.
Ooh. Stats 180. Is that what it is? Or
I think it's 218, I believe.
That you got to study for that one.
Nah, for sure. I just got out of study hall before I hopped on here. So yeah.
Alex wants to know, have you found a food spot? Does Casey have a food spot that he likes to hit up? Where are you guys going?
So I went to this food spot. Casey took me, I forgot, it's like this Italian pasta restaurant downtown. I forget about that one. I forgot the name.
Vincenzo's.
That's it right there. That was good. I've been to Momo's.
Ooh, Momo, you're going way out there.
Yeah, so the Momo's is good. I recommend their shrimp and crab, lobster, mac and cheese, something like that. That was real good. That's about it that I've gotten out to right now.
Did Casey take you out to Momo too?
No, Casey didn't take me to Momo's.
So you just went up there on your own?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the owner of Momo, he's a big Nebraska fan. I'm sure Anthony probably recognized you right away when you walked in there.
Yeah.
We're giving you a good plug here, Anthony. It's a great restaurant. All right, we got time for a couple more questions. Eric wants to know, what's your major? What are you studying? What do you want to do when you're done with football?
So my major here is human development. My major at Texas was sports management, physical culture, and sports. Really, I don't like with the human development major. I really don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with it. I know after the football stuff is over, I want to get into like real estate stuff like that, businesses, open businesses, and so like I couldn't tell you what exactly I'm gonna do with the degree.
Are you a guy when you're done playing sports? Do you want to live back in St. Louis, or do you just kind of want to find a new place to live growing up?
I'm gonna have like a couple houses in St. Louis for sure. I'll be back. Because I want to like relate. Like I relate to the people back in St. Louis, and I want to help out as much as I can. So I have couple houses in St. Louis. I probably wouldn't stay there like as my primary residence, but I'd definitely be there more times than often.
All right. Final question, and it's about your uniform number. Do you have a preferred uniform number? You had 15 at Texas. I don't know if 15 is available or not. Do you have your mind or sight set on a number right now at Nebraska?
Yeah, I do have my. I want a number. I don't know, like, I don't know how that works. I haven't really gotten into that yet. I'm pretty sure right now I'm number 15. But yeah, I'm gonna talk to the coaches before I reveal the number that I think I want to wear. I think I'm gonna get.
So the guys don't really know quite yet. I mean, especially when you have 15 newcomers. I mean, there's a lot of guys that got 33 total newcomers on the roster with the transfers. I mean, there's a lot of guys probably trying to figure out what number they're going to get.
For sure.
Well, Marcus, we appreciate you taking some time here on Husker Chat Live, and welcome to Lincoln.
Appreciate you guys for having me.
Well, that wraps it up here with Marcus Washington. Once again, Husker Chat Live, brought to you by Sandhills Global, powered by ABM. If you have equipment to sell it at auctiontime.com. And a reminder, you can watch the replay of this on the Husker Online YouTube channel. We also will put the audio version of this as well on the Husker Online podcast channel. So signing off here for Husker Online, I'm Sean Callahan.